I hear y'all, guys. I hear y'all. No more financial talks. No more contract talks. So, given that we're a community of our own, we can start our own thing. Every Tuesday, weekly recaps. We're doing our top 10 co-hosts of the JBP. I wrote a list down because I was taking this seriously, and I came up with 12 names. So I will have 2 honorable mentions. At least this inaugural one. I don't know if it's going to be weekly because they don't make appearances weekly, but they do deserve to have their names on here. Actually, slight caveat, make that 13. I'll give an honorable mention right now. Shout out to Sue Surf. Whenever he touched down and is back on the JBP, I'm almost positive he'll be in this weekly rotation of the top 10 list. But given that he's locked down, can't see that he ain't in the free, we gotta just leave him on the honorable mention list. Now, here's the official top 10 to honorable mention list. Number 12, aka honorable mention number 1, Keno. Shout out to Keno. He's doing what he needs to do, staying in Joe's good graces, cooking for the whole cast on the 10-year anniversary. He even made an appearance on Podwives. That's big in Joe's mind. But as far as the contents and as far as one of the audience members, I don't think you belong on the top 10, not at all. So you're important enough to make the honorable mention list though. So shout out to Keno. Number 2 honorable mention, aka number 11. Shout out to my guy, Ian Dunlap. I know what the consensus is. But it's a big deal for someone that is seemingly out of our genre or out of our cachet to come in this space and even be cool with Joe to make multiple appearances to the point where Joe wants to sign him. You already know how I feel, Ian. We've talked privately, so take that advice however you will. Now, to get to the official list. At number 10, Zaire Franklin. I don't have too many negative critiques on you, brother. You just haven't made that many appearances. And the one negative critique that I will give, given that I'm monotone myself, you have to switch the inflections on your voice, sir. When you're too monotone and you have a deep voice, it makes for bad audio content. So make sure you work on your diaphragm and your inflection. That sounds like hate, but this is my list. Maybe you'll make more appearances this year to bolster what it is that you got going on underneath the JBN and in the trenches. At number 9, Ian. Manager Ian. I got you at number 9. Slightly slotted above Zaire. And it's not that you're not funny or that people don't like you. It's just that you try to come into a community that's already well established, even though it's a community you helped create, and you try to thrust yourself as one of the main members in the community on BTS, on Podwives. Although I appreciate your vulnerability on Podwives, a lot of people don't give it up like that. They'll make sure everything is sugar-coated. They're not trying to let their real lives come out to people through content or through Facebook or whatever social media outlets they choose to use. So shout out to you for your vulnerability. You have to give us time to get acclimated with you, sir. Switch the roles. I try not to use ethnicity in these videos, even though it means a lot. Switch the roles. Let me go to your community. You can equate skin color or religion, either or. Let me go to your sect and try to just acclimate myself amongst your community quickly and see how that is, because that's what's happening with you to us at a much smaller scale. But we have to come to know you. That's the same advice that I keep trying to tell Ian Dunlap. We know the name, we don't know the person behind it though. Give us time. So as if this is what you're going to be doing, dumping water out and putting tap water in people's names on it. If you're going to take the stingy route, fine. But you have to relish in that lane when we don't rock with you. But if this is an act, if this is a stick, or if this is just part of your niche, You have to give us time to realize that that's not who you are. At number 8, come here, Ice. Big Freeze. Hey, when I first started this, you would have been in the honorable mentions. So please don't take being at number 8 as a slight, because y'all are honestly going to be surprised at who I have at my number 1. But continue giving your biased and unbiased takes on music. Continue being the indoor inside nigga when it comes to a lot of these topics where the outside niggas need to see the other perspective. I'm not mad at you being the too cool for school nigga, and that I'm not saying the popular cat. I'm just saying I'm not above saying no to any of these things. Eventually you're gonna have to let that sensitivity up, sir. It was cool when you weren't cracking jokes, but now you're one of the main participants. Once you figure out that balance and you're able to take the jokes as much as you give them, you will rise on this list, because I put you at number 8 mainly because of your loyalty. I appreciate loyalty from men. It's very, very rare nowadays. So to see it on such a public display, I have to salute it. Work on these things, Ice, because I see big things from you, Ice, and you said you're coming out with something this year. If you have momentum in a rollout, as you like to say all the time, then it might help propel your side ventures, aka your own entrepreneurial ventures. Keep at it. At number 7, this may come off as a surprise to a lot of you. Before I even name him, I want it to be known that everybody on this list I rock with. I don't hate any of y'all. It's just that's how the list goes. So I don't want y'all to hear this name and get surprised or shocked. But at number 7, we have Parks. Parks. Yes, Parks. When it comes to solely the JBP, his one-liners aren't enough for me. This is me. I don't like it when someone rarely chimes in, but when they do chime in, the couple of times they do, it's them correcting me or clowning on me. It makes for a good audio experience. But if I'm one of the co-hosts, I'm looking at Park sideways every time he does this, aka Melissa Ford. So, Parks, continue to chime in, continue to participate in every single show, every single activity. I have to salute you for your loyalty to the JBP and the JBN, because I feel that you're a part of that as well. Hopefully it comes out that you and Erickson are actually equity partners or receiving slightly more than this 15-20K that's rumored that everyone receives monthly. Parks, I would like you to be more than the Segway man. I would like you to be more than the Segway man. I don't want you to just be the one pointing out all the mistakes. I want you to contribute in the mistakes. One thing I liked about this basketball footage that they just recently released, we saw all of their vulnerable sides. You can't hide athleticism. I'm sorry. And people do not like being embarrassed. I saw a lot with that Parks basketball shit that I don't see on JBP. So that means you're very manufactured, Parks. That means you're very careful with what you let out. And you have an image that you're trying to uphold. I actually think you're funny, just like a lot of us do. It would be nice if you contributed more to the story or gave stories. You're no longer just the guy on the board. You're no longer just seen as the engineer. You are a part of the show. And I know as such because every promotional picture they have, you're very much a part of. You're not behind the scenes. So start acting like it, Parks. At number 6, the one and only Melissa Ford. Shout out to Big Mel. If y'all haven't noticed, I haven't been making so many salacious videos in her direction anymore. I don't care when females talk shit to men. I don't. Or ladies or women, because female sounds disrespectful. I care when they play victim and they're shooting shots in our direction. And she stopped playing the victim card. She's taking what it is. She's giving it back to them. You cannot dogpile someone that won't allow you to be dogpiled. So if I'm jumping on you and you keep moving and squirming and then you throw your fist up after you get me up off you, I'm going to look at you different. I'm going to give you an ounce of respect, and that's what has happened. Shout out to Melissa Ford. Let's not even get on the viral moments. That's a whole nother video on its own, but I feel like Melissa's top 2 or 3 when it comes to viral moments, and that's including Joe himself. So Melissa has extreme and immense value. And shout out to Melissa again for, I may not have given her this idea, but everybody started noticing once we pointed it out. That walkthrough on its own is valuable. Check the Patreon comments every time you do a walkthrough, Melissa, and it's flooded with those type of comments. If there's 1,500 comments, 700 of them are pointing out how fine and beautiful Melissa is. And the timestamp, she's getting niggas to timestamp the comments in Patreon. That's a big deal. But that's not why I have her at number 6. I'm just saying she's very valuable, whether she speaks or not. I just appreciate her speaking more and holding her ground. Hey, one thing I do want more from you, fuck them niggas. Bring up the movie topics. Bring up the entertainment shit. Y'all are already pop culture based. Stop allowing these niggas to denigrate you for knowing pop culture references. But one thing I have to side with them on, you just give names. You're very knowledgeable at knowing names and knowing situations. Okay, well, explain the situation, because every time they point the mic in your direction, it's like you're caught off guard. And you have to research on the spot, a la Flip. Stop doing that. Anyway, at number 5, now things are about to start getting interesting. This might come off as a surprise. Imani! Imani! That's my dog. Hey, one thing I have to give Imani, every time he's on the pod, he's going to speak. He's going to speak so much. I read comments of people saying he speaks too much. You're not a main character. Yeah, he's not Joe, but he contributes to everything. Hey, quick question. How many viral moments has Imani had in this past month? I'll tell you, 2. He's had 2. One on the pod and one off the pod. And they may not sound like a major number, but go back and check how many times everyone else from the pod has gone viral within this past month. Imani! Imani was sold to me when he made it through that Backwoody situation, because I knew he was going to get suspended, but I wholehearted and vehemently thought he got fired. Came back, not only did he not think what he did was wrong, he took it on the chin, and he's been shooting at Joe ever since. One thing I have to give Imani, even if he is wholeheartedly wrong on a situation, if that's what he believes, he stands on that. You can't say that to me. Can't show me no grace, nigga. Hey, Imani, keep doing what you're doing. I may clown you because of the position or the perspective from the outside looking in. But from the inner circle, you have a whole lot more power than you realize, sir. Joe is trying to check you. He's trying to, let's say, dampen your bravado. He loves you. It's clear as day. And peep this, Imani, because I know you're going to hear it. He wants you to be a main member on the pod. But you have to check yourself. And you have to find that balance of knowing when to play friend to Joe and knowing when to play employee to Joe. Once you figure that out, you will be a main pod member. So shout out to Imani, because I know this is going to shock a lot of people. All right, this is what y'all came for. Let's get to it. At number 4, I sell houses. Give me Antoine Ish Mabry. That's my guy. That's everyone's guy. Ish, you have the most power on the JBP. Let me just start off with that. But because you know of the power you hold on the show, it has you being lackadaisical at times. At times. And by lackadaisical, I mean when you get in your feelings, you stay in your feelings. It's not good content. When you and Joe go at each other, That makes for good content because we know there's a background and a history between the two of y'all. 2 decades worth at this point. But when you get all pissy, when everybody else gets on your case, or when it has nothing to do with you, or something like pop culture and the entertainment guys, you flip, for lack of a better word. And I need you to stop that. You should be number 2 at least on this list. I apologize. But because you get in your own way too much, I had to slot you at number 4. There's no other negative critiques that I can give Ish. He contributes to every topic, even when he doesn't want to. Joe, the main person, always looks to Ish whenever he's trying to further something. He always tries to include Ish. Gotta put him in his proper place. 4 is probably the lowest I'll ever see Ish on this list. And this is the inaugural one. Hopefully he takes the critiques, but if we all know Ish like we feel we do, we know he won't. At number 3, this one's gonna surprise a lot of y'all. Give me the person the show is named after. Joe, you're not even number 1 on your own list. How is that possible? I'll tell you why. Joe is content with where he's at. He doesn't care about the pod anymore. I'm standing on that. Joe is on mogul mode. And when I say these things, I don't want Joe to take it as a slight or that I'm mad, even though he don't give a fuck if I'm mad or not. This is not a slight. I'm just saying your motives have switched. When you were concerned about the pod and the pod only because it was your baby and it was the entity that you were focused on the most because you were getting money elsewhere, you were podding your ass off. You were vulnerable. You were giving game. You were fired. That was when you were your top peak Joe. But now that this podcast is your baby and you've seen it blossom, and it's still continuing to blossom, but we can see bloom. It's already bloomed. We can see the petals on that motherfucker. Now you're in cruise control. Now you're in boss mode. This is the negative that comes with it, because you do it a lot on mic now. It's probably used to happen off mic, but now it's happening on mic. The critique you give your co-host is terrible, especially because you are the boss. It's not good content. For me, it is, because I get to make videos, but now I'm about to start finding new lanes to speak on, y'all. I don't even have to be about the episodes anymore. But when you do it, it's not compelling, as you like to say, Joe Budden. We all know you should be number 1 on this list, but I don't think you've been given number 1 podcast quality, not you yourself. So hopefully y'all aren't shocked when y'all hear number 2 or 1. But without further ado, at number 2, give me MLH. Give me Mark Lamont Hill. He came in seamlessly. I've never seen an introduction to a character on any show go as well as MLH being included on a JBP. That is a big deal. Mark is politically based. He's politically based. He's religiously based. He's in the zeitgeist that I want no parts of. Meaning I would never have been a fan of MLH prior to him coming on the JBP. But now that he's here, I have followed him on his solo virtue, whatever expeditious, whatever purpose he's finding. I'm following him now. Like, damn, I would never have cared about this nigga prior to him coming. So that shows the power to Joe. But Mark came in seamlessly. Shout out to Mark. I haven't even looked up none of his crazy takes that he was known for, because I'm like, damn, this dude is funny, he's cool, he's smart, he's intelligent, all wrapped in one. And he's finding a way to answer the questions that we need answered without denigrating anyone in the process. You want to talk about straddling the fence? Mark is great at answering both sides of the question, but he's going to give an answer, and it's going to be intuitive enough for us to pay attention to it. So shout out to Mark Lamont Hill. I really have no negative critiques. So given that I've named all those names, at number 1, give me Liberty or give me Flip. Flip. Game over. Hey, I'm not gonna hold you. QueenzFlip is my favorite co-host as of now. And I want y'all to know this is a weekly list, but I'm giving y'all in-depth analysis, I guess, because this is the first time we've done this list. So I want y'all to know the reasons why I have them where I have them. But Flip is my number one because Flip turned this whole show around. Let's give a round of applause to Flip. I want y'all to check one thing. Rory and Mal never spoke on any numbers on the show. Once they did, they were relieved. They would have got suspended and fired. Flip has done it damn near the entirety of the show because Flip came on, and I remember early on when Flip came on, he was breaking the fourth wall, and that's pretty much what got this JBP community to where it's at currently. Gotta give a shout out to the originator. Flip will always speak on topics even if he knows nothing about them, and I'm watching him develop and mature right in front of our eyes. Who the fuck would have ever thought Flip could hold his own ever in a room with mature adults, just based off his skits and his content prior to joining the JBP? Who would have ever thought that? And now, whenever Joe's gone, Flip's the one that leads. That means something. Flip, I make the most videos about you because I pay attention to you the most outside of Joe. Let that sink in. I rock with you, sir. Now, this spot can easily be relinquished because you let off the gas, but I gotta give you more credit. You're actually doing what you said you would do on a JBP while also growing your brand. I respect that immensely. Everybody may not like you with your outbursts and singing. They may not like how you dead conversations because you feel that you can't contribute to them, but you are always in the comments. You're the one constant that I'm gonna remain seeing in these comments. And quite frankly, if you were to leave, I don't know how the JBP would be. We all talk shit about it because you are the one that brings it up all the time, but watch how that stops once you stop bringing it up. Because Joe was trying to tell you in the most subliminal way possible, oh, we would be fucked if you and Ish left at the same time. That would have had my ears perked up. Because he's been saying, yeah, you and Khalif, I'm going to fire you and Imani, blah, 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 blah. But once he said that about you and Ish, I would have took that to heart. Damn, we're the two cogs in this bitch, in his eyes. And Ish is his mans. Ish is his mans. That's like if my brother and just an associate were placed in the same breath. That's how I would have taken that if I was the associate. Damn, he views me in the same light that he views his brother. That means something, Flip. Continue to take advantage. Unfortunately, I gotta speak on what just happened on your in the room. Talk about the perks of growing still, but hey, I'm not gonna hold you. This is the most fun video I've ever made on this channel. So hopefully it does numbers and it takes off, and hopefully we can start something, man. Like, forget a Potter of the month. Let's have a ranking list of the month, of the year, all that. And best believe I will be taking numbers. I'm keeping all the notes. I'm going to actually number these episodes because I anticipate this being a series that we start. So I appreciate y'all. If y'all enjoyed it, like the video. If you haven't subscribed to the page yet, make sure you do that. I appreciate those that have. And let's get this thing rocking, man. Y'all be safe. I'll see y'all tomorrow. Peace.